Welcome to episode 58 of Cyclops is Waiting for Me, an X-Men the Animated Series weekly recap podcast. I'm Rod. I haven't said this in a while. I'm a musician. You can look up my music, but also you may have heard stuff I've done for the YouTube channels and shows and stuff.
And I'm JC, and I'm just waiting for our guest, Joe Russo, to completely abuse the fact that Rod is the one hosting this episode.
Lord.
Oh, yeah. Time to hijack the show. Joe's back for the fourth time in a row.
It's Joe Russo Month on Cyclops is Waiting for Me.
We hope you've enjoyed it as much as we've enjoyed tormenting JC.
Cyclops is Waiting for Me is our weekly podcast series. We're going back and watching every single episode of the original 1992 X-Men the Animated Series in their original intended script order, building up to the release of X-Men 97, coming to Disney Plus later this year.
Some quick reminders where we recap show about the series that started. There was only one series ever.
You can tell this is the fourth one, guys.
That shit happened for 30 years ago. There's going to be spoilers. if you don't want spoiled for you, you're on episode 4. I don't know what you're doing here. Go do everything you know you're supposed to do and be better.
If you're listening to the fourth episode in a fourth run, it's not
in
you.
season 4.
Yeah. And if you don't know who I am by now, then that's on you.
Twitter. Go to Twitter.
Yeah.
Go to Twitter. Pizza and movies and horror movies and something.
The script says we're supposed to avoid spoilers, but fuck it for this one. And you know our deal with Disney Plus.
We have a deal with Disney Plus. I got them to reveal it in these last few episodes. It is official. It is happening. I'm calling Disney tomorrow. Bye Biker is going to be on next week's episode.
I don't know why, but if you want to, follow us on social media at Cyclops IWFM Pod on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and Facebook. Make sure to follow us on your favorite podcast services if you aren't already. And finally, we record these in batches. Yeah, no shit.
Now on to the show. Today we're going to be talking about season 4, episode 21. That definitely wasn't JC throwing his iPad. Episode 21 titled Beyond Good and Evil Part 4, End and Beginning. I had to think that before I said it. It aired November 25th. Wait, this was either on or close to Thanksgiving then?
Beyond Good and Evil, End to End Beginning.
Yeah.
It would have been this. It was always on Saturdays.
Okay, so right after Thanksgiving then, probably. It currently sits at an 8.2 star rating on IMDb, so the highest rated, but
it is the highest rated.
The finale of this mini series run thing, whatever.
And the season, and season 4, and should have been the season series finale.
So definitely had that.
Everybody is slurring right now.
And you said at some point during the process of making this, they realized it wasn't going to be.
They were informed by the team at Fox that it was not going to be. It was originally intended to be. There were going to be some larger changes, including departures of certain members of the team, new people being added to it. Yeah, but that all changed.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah, they got a call from Fox asking for more episodes, which is why that changed. Originally, you were going to lose Storm, Scott and Jean, Jubilee, and Xavier in this episode. It was not specific as to how members of the team were going to depart.
It's like the Power Rangers, like their contracts couldn't get their contracts worked out. So they're going to go to special training, and these other 2 people are going to replace them.
But you were going to see a little more of a concrete addition of the people who are coming in to replace them. Shard, Bishop, Psylocke, and Archangel were going to be establishing as members of the team.
Oh man, I wish we would have seen that timeline. That did it better than what we're about to see in season 5. Also, we're in the last episode of season 4.
Wow.
So if it hasn't already been weird for you, buckle in for season 5.
That's where shit gets real weird.
It is the wildest.
But we get Captain America.
That's true.
Oh, I forgot that episode.
It's in all the thumbnails, Rod.
I know it's in thumbnails, but I don't remember what capacity, because there's so many cameos and stuff, and the Maverick dude that I'm just now remembering because of the one episode.
Maverick is in this show so much, and you just blocked him out until you watched the episode.
Anyway, so this episode opens with the Axis of Time, and Bender is still annoying Bishop. Bishop's still on his walk.
The final part of his walking
favorite
tour.
X-Men. I wish you guys could see JC's house right now. It is covered in Bender artwork, merchandise.
Bender is not an X-Man.
And I remember in the first of this 4-part series, I mentioned that Bender was an annoying Robin Williams knockoff.
Yes.
And my notes here is he suddenly turned into 90s Eddie Murphy.
Because he starts doing a bunch of the rhyming stuff too.
Yeah,
the rhymes started driving me crazy in this episode.
And he's screaming, because I just watched Corridor Digital's Animators React, and they talked to the dude who animated Mushu from Mulan, and that was Eddie Murphy.
Oh yeah.
And I just remembered, I was like, oh yeah, a lot lot of his comedy was like kind of screaming. And Robin Williams, he was loud, but he wasn't just yelling necessarily at you.
He projected.
Yeah, he projected. Yes. He was being emotive and stuff.
So what you're saying is Eddie Murphy got what he did in Mulan from this episode of the X-Men.
Specifically from Bender.
Specifically. Wow.
You've worked in movies and stuff long enough. You probably know, but like...
That is empirically false.
Oh, really?
That I haven't worked in movies?
Exactly.
I love that... even if you're not working in movies and you're in this town in Los Angeles and stuff, there's so many stories that will never leave this bubble that are just like kind of incidental, of like how things happen.
Sure.
At things, and it's like I kind of want a story like that to be true. Like some random, not related thing ended up
influencing,
something else.
I mean, that happens all the time. Back when I was making Avenge Her.
You almost made him spit his White Claw onto his recording equipment, and then we would have been extra fucked.
And then we would have had to do the whole thing again.
And that's the end of the show.
Thanks for joining us. Anyway, so the X-Men are waking up at the Lazarus Chamber from when they got knocked out the previous episode.
Year, Rod?
1200 BC. Okay, sorry.
Hey.
You could physically hear the hamster revving up. And before they leave it, Cable blows up the chamber. He's like, we were here, so let's do this. Beast reveals to everybody that feels like it would have been nice to know before that Xavier has like an interdimensional whatever homing device on him.
But if you don't tell people, then it can't be used against you.
And it's not a cliffhanger.
So it
is specifically a pulse generator, though. Mm-hmm. That's how they wanted to specify. And the whole point is that it could be tracked throughout time. At that point, it is established, though, that because Apocalypse is at the center of time, it doesn't matter if he has access to the Lazarus Chamber anymore. So they kind of feel like it was essentially for nothing. We also see more of the psychics have been put into the tubes. Rod, favorite game. There are 6 visible psychics at this point. Give me any of them.
Okay. So spoiler, I don't know any of them, but there were there was 2 mental notes I had in here. One guy that I know wasn't right because this is the wrong franchise, but one guy kind of looked like a Lantern, Green Lantern stuff.
So I will give you this.
Green Lantern is a DC character.
That's what I mean. It wasn't that part.
That character model is absolutely stolen character model from the Guardians from Oa. You are spot on with that one.
Oh.
It is color changed, but it is definitely modeled after a Guardian.
Okay, it looked like that to me. And then there was someone else.
And the reason why I believe that is it is because there was the Mojo episode where we saw there was like the red xenomorph and different Cantina aliens and such like that. So they definitely snagged that. So Rod, you're one for 6.
And then there was one guy that I was like, I don't know anything about this character except for the Eternals. I didn't know if that was Pip because it looked like there was like a troll-like character in the back. I'm guessing not.
Nope. That is... Fuck does that say?
He doesn't know either. Oh,
Gremlin. Character's name is Gremlin.
That tracks.
Yep.
Yeah. I didn't know.
There's a psychic named Gremlin?
Yep. He's a mutant psychic. His father was named Gargoyle.
Huh.
Yep.
Stays in the family.
Also Russian. He would go on to be one of the Titanium Mans in the what would become the Winter Guard.
There you go.
Yep. We go
the more you know.
Deep on our bullshit. Also, you see Rachel Summers, who's sometimes known as Phoenix. She's in the all red bodysuit. No speaking role, obviously. Mastermind, who we've seen from the Dark Phoenix episodes. Moondragon, who is the daughter of Drax. Mesmero, who is like the guy who is all green, and then on the opposite side you see Strife, who is a clone of Cable.
Okay, so I was gonna say I didn't notice Strife in that part, but later on when the psychics are there, I noticed Strife.
Yeah, I noticed Strife flying around. I don't think I saw him earlier.
He was in that scene too.
I was always really kind of bummed that they never did an Executioner's Song animated series adaptation because I always loved Strife. He was like a really interesting villain to me.
Yeah. He keeps coming back too and has like these really weird appearances. Like I don't think they really know what to do with him in the comics right now.
I don't think so either.
Like he peaked at Executioner's Song and they've been trying to like make it happen again for 25 years.
He was a great one-off and the fact that he was a clone of Cable was such an awesome twist and reveal. Yeah.
Which was revealed to me through the action figure because his helmet flipped up and then it was Cable's face underneath.
Oh, wow. That's funny.
Yeah.
I wish like we could have recorded me and my brother's reaction because like that. Yeah, that's how we revealed to us. Like, wait, what?
They're like, you thought someone played a prank on you?
Well, because at that time there was a lot of like kind of character reveals, whether they were canon or not, that were in action figures. So
Yeah.
I think they specified that his action thing of the figure was the mask flipping. So we're like, oh, we're going to see what he looks like. Because it was also the same thing with Claw, I think, from Inspector Gadget.
But Claw was just kind of like arbitrary. This is what this bad guy looks like.
Yeah.
It wasn't as bad as Dick Tracy, which the action figure for the blank revealed that it was Madonna's character. In Canada, the figure was never released in the United States.
Wow.
And I know that because of Harley from Epic Mealtime proceeded to give a drunk rant about it on
That's
Instagram.
pretty funny. No, I Strife I always thought was a really great villain. I loved the character design. I loved the armor. So it was fun to see him.
Big bombastic helmet.
Oh my god, yes. The bigger the better.
It's a cool figure. It's like kind of almost like samurai-esque. You know, just the way his whole like silhouette looks.
I loved it. I always thought it was really cool design, and I was always really disappointed that they never were able to adapt that story in any medium thus far.
That could be your MCU. I was going to say debut, but
I mean,
Air quotes debut.
Air quotes. Look, I would do it. Call me Kevin Feige.
yo, that would be. You know,
On the plus side, it will be 20 years before they could get to that story. So
That's probably true.
yeah, how great though it'd be for them to have like not only now we're hitting a time where like actors are appearing multiple times in the MCU. Now we're having directors of the same names but different people.
I have no idea what you're referencing there, Rod.
He's trying to imply that maybe there's another Joe Russo.
Back to the
Different
present.
timeline. Yeah, so they decide that Cerebro and Grey Malkin can work together to chat. I thought this before you mentioned that Grey Malkin was a reference to the X-Mansion, but I didn't know if that was an implication that Grey Malkin was like an evolution of Cerebro, since they can work together so well.
Is that why they're so chatty?
And we're so thousands of years apart in technology.
I haven't thought about it, but that's not a bad theory.
Because there wasn't any like calibration or anything happening. They were just like, let's like plug in your 3.5-inch floppy disk, and now we're all working together, or whatever.
It was at least a USB cable.
There you go. So they start chatting.
Sorry, it probably would have had an Ethernet cable. We didn't have USBs back then.
That's
Right.
true.
Or like that room of computers.
Oh my god, we're so old.
And so they're able to like locate the pulse generation from Xavier's beacon thingy
Yep.
and discover that he's at the center of time, which everyone just accepts.
No, it's not the center of time. He's outside
Axis
of
of
time.
Outside of time.
Outside of time.
And everyone's just like, sure. Which, fair. Of everything that's happened in the last year and a half, they're like, why not?
It wouldn't be the weirdest shit. We've literally interacted with Bishop at least twice at this point.
Yeah. And now that we're thinking of the timeline, they run into him like every other month.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're in their own timeline. The proximity is actually fairly close.
So it's now when they see Bishop, they just basically roll their eyes and groan because
Yeah.
they know it's in store.
It's like, what did we fuck up this time?
It's only been a week, but before they can decide to figure out what a plan they should come up with, Cable's already like started to take off. He's on his own mission.
Yeah, he's gonna lone wolf it. He takes this giant spaceship through time by himself.
Because nothing's ever gone wrong in the X-Men animated universe by someone going rogue.
Back at the Axis, and there's the green orb, which the design of it kind of reminded me of the logo from the Sanctum Sanctorum a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
It's not that, but it reminded me of that.
Yeah. And
Interesting.
I guess the orb would be more of like what we think of as like a MacGuffin, right? Because we don't get an explanation for it. It just is there as like the super.
A MacGuffin is a plot device that everybody wants.
This
right?
is just an unexplained object.
This is I mean, this is.
It's the big red button, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There you
Yeah.
go. And so, or like the one thing that takes out all the aliens or something.
Like when you could destroy the entire mutant registration file by destroying one hard drive in the first episode. Yeah, we didn't have backups back then.
No, we did not. It was the 90s.
Yeah, a backup hard drive was thousands of dollars.
Yep,
Yeah.
sure was.
And Apocalypse starts to put his plan into motion, and the psychics in their tubes start leaving whatever facility they're in to outside the beam.
The Citadel.
The Citadel.
Yeah.
And they start orbiting the beam in the sky. we haven't had a beam in the sky yet, I guess, to deal with. They start orbiting the beam in the sky. We acknowledge Wolverine is there because he jumped into the thing before they all got teleported away.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting that was one of the things that happens off camera is everybody gets knocked out by this like big light pulse that happens in there. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if it was Wolverine never knocked out? Was he regaining consciousness first, made it through on time? And Apocalypse is like, well, you dove in and it would probably be easier to kill you, but I want you to watch this happening.
Yeah.
And that's where it's like, oh, this can't backfire for you at all, sir.
Right.
I want to leave the one person who might be able to foil my plan alive. Nothing will go wrong.
Yep. And then we get further Bishop walking.
Yes.
And he sees people floating now.
Yeah, he's like, that's weird. Not in a funny ha-ha.
Yeah. And he asks Bender what he's doing, and Bender actually gives the first legit answer of the entire
4-episode run,
which is he's stealing time.
And Bishop's like, that's no good.
He's also
good.
like, I don't know what that means.
Yeah. Doesn't sound good though. Let me shoot it.
So Magneto is asking Apocalypse.
Gonna shoot time.
Yeah, then dropkick the portal.
Yeah.
Dropkick the portal sounds like a metal band.
Dropkick the portal.
Yeah, but it's got to be a nerdcore metal band. Like they're also doing Through the Fire and Flames type covers.
Yeah. And so then Magneto is asking Apocalypse, what is your plan? Which, it's like, you got this far and didn't. Okay, sure.
Well, he wants the remainder of the explanation. He knew part of it, which was gather the psychics.
And so Apocalypse takes Magneto away to a separate room to tell him alone because it matters at this point, I guess.
He's trying to keep it super secret safe.
All right. And he reveals that a bunch of words that I know individually but don't understand how they combine together is time, motion, physics, psychics, mind can transcend time. Sure.
I really hope somebody who has not watched this episode is trying to interpret what you just said.
It would be me if I hadn't been on this show and had to watch it myself.
Yeah.
The comment in Instagram is, what the fuck did Rod say?
Yeah, I mean, that could be
time, motion, space.
He was like
science fiction.
His speech, that's what it sounded like to me. He was like, time is motion and motion is time and space. And then he arrived I'm going to be in control after this.
Yeah. He's going to do the thing.
So, but what I did gather out of this is he said by destroying all the psychics at that place all at once, to release enough energy to destroy time, but leave the axis intact. We discussed this before we were recording because I had a mistake in my notes. They were destroying the axis.
Nope.
It wasn't. It was literally doing the opposite. Everything outside of the axis, so that Apocalypse could remake the universe to his liking and time in general, which is funny because that's the plot of MK11.
Mortal Kombat 11?
Yeah.
The same one that Ronda Rousey's in?
Yes.
Interesting.
Full circle.
Ooh, we went on a journey with that one.
That was a route to get there. And Magneto acknowledges, well, then great, we get the timeline that I want where it's mutants who are the ruling class. And that's where, it's revealed that Apocalypse was going to turn on him. He wasn't going to let that happen. Yeah. And it's Magneto is going to get it to that last second of let's see how long it takes before he fucks me on this.
Yeah. And so the Magneto's super upset and surprised for some reason.
Can't believe the liar lied to me.
and right about then, the Horseman Death stabs Apocalypse in the back. A lot of backstabbing
with his scythe. Yeah.
Yep. But he just put him to sleep.
It's interesting that Mystique can also transform
into the weapons.
Yes.
Yeah. We've talked about that on the show specifically, where it's not. Is she making a physical object and does the object work? Because that thing drops Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Because if it's just her making a hardened bone version of it or whatever that organic equivalent is, that would just be punching you in the back. You'd be like, John, stop.
Right. It sounds like this has happened.
I am Apocalypse.
That's the reveal. Glad you stuck around to the 4th episode. You said it revealed it was Mystique, and then Magneto reveals I didn't ever trust you. I had a plan.
Yeah,
I had a plan, but what was the plan really?
It was to see if he wasn't going to turn on him, I guess.
Yeah, that's not much of a plan.
No, but he basically says, he's
it's one of the people who watch a movie with a twist, and they're like, I saw the twist coming the whole time.
Yeah, I've cut all those people out of my life.
Yeah. You know what movie has a good twist? Get Out.
So Magneto acknowledges that he will not call anyone master. And the problem that he has with Apocalypse's plan when it's finally revealed is that he's willing to destroy the innocents as well as the guilty. And that's for Magneto. It's all right, well, I would have been okay with this if you killed all the Friends of Humanity and like the Sentinel program bigots and stuff like that. But you're also going to hurt innocent people, and that's where Magneto isn't okay with
So he
it.
draws the line. He's a hero in his own mind.
So then the villains have a big old fight. Just
Big old fight.
Apocalypse gets thrown off a cliff in the
You
whole
are an
wall.
expert at describing action.
Right?
I'm going to try writing that in one of my next scripts.
Big old
We'll just
fight.
have a big old fight.
3 minutes, big old fight.
You know what's funny? I don't know how screenplays are normally written.
I would be
But-
happy-
Stop
I would
it.
be
Stop
happy
it. Why
to-
would you give him that setup right
Okay.
now?
But his example.
I can show you. I can read you
Surprise-
one right here.
Power through, Rod. Power through.
Surprise, JC. We've been aligned this whole time.
Get Out, written by Jordan Peele.
Rod,
So-
power through on your
Suburban-
thought.
So I some friends have shown me their screenplays, not Get Out, but their own. No, I've seen screenplays of like big movies that have been successful. Stunt friends that
Yeah,
have to choreograph
sure.
stunt scenes and
Yeah.
stuff, and they've shown me the screenplays, and they're like, oh yeah, that 10-minute action scene. The screenplay says like big fight breaks out. I was like, is that how it's really written in screenplays? Like,
It can be. It depends. Like
So if it's a John Woo movie, probably not.
the problem is, and this like kind of goes back to like what do executives read and what do they don't read. So like if you're an executive and you're going home with like 10 scripts to read for the weekend from new writers and established writers, whatever, like you're probably going to end up skimming a little bit, right? So if you're trying to keep their attention, you're trying to keep them engaged, and you're trying to keep the plot moving, sometimes you might use little cheats like that, right?
Yeah.
Like a barrage of punches, which could stand for, a minute of action, right? So like you try to be economical in your space, but still descriptive of what's happening. So it's not incorrect that could appear in a script.
so you heard it here. Joe Russo said that Rod is not incorrect in the way he describes these scenes.
However,
I'm not saying anything. That's all on you to respond.
as a screenplay. But like the reality is, if you gave an executive a page of like he punches, he ducks, he kicks, she jumps, like they'd be like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, they don't
Who's
care.
doing what?
Yeah.
Right. Like they'd lose track of the plot. Right. So it's more about, I think, making sure that you're keeping the characters and the story moving, and less about like boom, 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 boom. That can be figured out later. Right.
Yeah, it's kind of similar too, because like earlier when we
Who would have known you'd get a screenwriting lesson?
I'm actually shocked we didn't get it until the 4th episode. Big fight with Thanos. Done.
there you go.
Get Out,
Yeah,
written
and-
by Jordan Peele.
Thank you.
Right. So Apocalypse got thrown off the cliff.
The horsemen all like
Go.
follow in and then immediately go out the hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Sinister and Nasty Boys arrive just in time. Magneto is like, he betrayed us. I just want to build a better future. And then Sinister, all this happens really, really quickly.
He's like, no, there's no Cyclops come in that world for me.
What he actually says is that he always knew the plan and he was totally okay with it.
yeah. And then Apocalypse
He
floats back
promised me
up.
all of Cyclops'
Semen.
Give me the Cyclops semen.
All right, that's our clip.
No. You're trying to get us banned on every social
My name
at
is
once.
Joe Russo, and I like Cyclops.
There you go.
Well, you ended your career with this show. White Claws almost killed Joe Russo's career.
Big old villain
That's all
fight
it
again.
took.
Big old villain fight again. Magneto frees Wolverine.
Well, he says he needs to go and free Wolverine and the Psychics, and Mystique is like, cool, I'll buy you time. So you have the more powerful mutant who is going to free a bunch of people, and then the person who's just a shapeshifter who's going to stop Apocalypse and 4 Horsemen and the Nasty Boys with Sinister.
Man, is this like the later Fox Mystique movies?
I mean, the latest one didn't turn out well for her, so
That's true. Well, that's because she wanted to get out. But
understandably.
Speaking of- no,
hey, get out, written by Jordan Peele.
Jennifer Lawrence and the Dark Phoenix.
Yes.
I joke about this, but I rewatched like that one scene again. I was like, I'm still convinced. I feel like she's visibly relieved when she dies.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
smiling.
Yeah,
She's like,
I
I'm done
think
with this fucking
she
franchise.
was happy to move on.
Yeah, as the first female superhero ever. Remember?
In the in John Carl's favorite movie, X-Men Apocalypse, doesn't she fight Apocalypse at the end?
I don't remember. I legit don't remember.
all
Pretty
of
sure she gives him the killing blow, because that's kind of how those movies went.
But Mystique and Magneto in the animated series contemporaries end up getting dropped, and then Wolverine gets taken down again because you have 3 mutants, despite their level of power, against Apocalypse, the Horseman, and Sinister and the Nasty Boys.
It's possible odds, just like Batman the movie.
Yeah. And then the Grey Malkin arrives, and I had to verify that I had this correct and didn't skip over too much before we start recording, but I have just Apocalypse punches Cable.
The only part missing is that Apocalypse grows to like giant stature and then punches Cable.
With his pancake hand.
Yeah, he has like a, I don't know, it's like almost like a construction device kind of thing or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know what you would call it.
That
It's
would be
like
called the Pounder,
Okay.
Oh, yeah, nice.
which is seen in Avenge Her.
Yeah.
Apocalypse is gonna pound Cable.
Sexy. Stay tuned for the OnlyFans.
Well, Sinister plays it.
And we're more than circles now. We're like the Olympic rings of like callbacks.
John is now drinking. John is now drinking.
John has to drive, so John
Yeah.
can't drink anymore.
The Horsemen.
He wants to, though.
Nope.
The Horsemen continue the plan, and Jean and Xavier feel that their energy is being drained.
Well, we see that green orb gets
Is
put
back.
to the top of the pyramid.
Yeah.
And that's when Jean and Professor X are having like their little psychic conversation. In that, they mention that they feel like the energy is being drained from them.
Mm-hmm. And then we get shots of places on Earth and the Shi'ar and stuff where people are disappearing.
So specifically, we see Shi'ar space, and you see Lilandra and her court disappear. New York City, average people disappear, and then in the mansion, you see Rogue, Shard, and Jubilee disappear. And I'm only pointing out the order because of something that happens a little later on. We see another new image in that group of the rotating tubes, and there's no way you know this character.
No, because I didn't remember.
And Joe, I don't think you would either.
I don't remember.
Typhoid Mary.
Oh, yeah, I know who Typhoid Mary is.
Yeah.
Sure.
I only know from the TV show.
So Typhoid Mary is the one who has like the big like 80s rocker hair and like the pink leather jacket.
Gotcha.
So
What Marvel show was she in? It was a TV show recently.
was she in Daredevil or
Was
one
it
of those?
Daredevil makes sense. Yeah, so then all like the Superman 2, is it Superman 2 with the mirror things in space?
The things that they lock everybody into. Gosh, I don't know what they call those, but yes.
Those are disappearing, I
It's
guess.
not the Shadow Realm. That's Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah.
Fuck, what is it called in Superman?
Phantom Zone.
Phantom Zone.
Phantom Zone.
Yep. So you see in these images, which are not a Phantom Zone, moments in time. There's a caveman. There is a moon landing. There's Mojo for some reason. There's
I noticed them too.
There's dinosaurs, which could be actual like historical dinosaurs, or it could be the Savage Land. And then there's the nuke going off.
Oh, I didn't.
There's one that's the mushroom cloud.
So not. They're like, okay, good and bad moments went away.
Yeah, and you get a little bit of the villain monologue further of what was will never be, and then talking about how these moments are lost for forever. This is the start of history caving in on itself, essentially.
Blade Runner monologue.
Which again, totally from Mortal Kombat 11. Like not from Mortal Kombat 11. Probably got this from like similar stories of this, but like
Sure.
it's
Like
just so
Blade Runner.
funny. Yeah, right. It's just funny because like I played Mortal Kombat 11 more recently than rewatching this.
I wouldn't have guessed.
Yeah. And I was like, wait, this is the Chronica storyline? Okay. So now Bishop is running on the
Yeah,
run
Bishop has finally started running.
because the road behind him is literally
Finally, the long walk of
Yeah.
Bishop has turned into a run.
the road behind him is vaporizing.
Yep.
And Bender reveals that he possibly built this place.
But we also not only get that reveal because he's said in the past it's like been hundreds or thousands of years. This is the first acknowledgement that this is 14 billion years. So it's like, oh, this guy's fucking insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Bishop looks up and sees the psychic snare tube. He doesn't know that's what it is. He's like, that doesn't look good.
So he shoots it.
Yeah.
Literally, in my own headcanon, it's because he's been with Bender for 8 minutes.
He's like, I have to shoot something.
Because again, Apocalypse acknowledges that he's been in the center for like 100 or a couple hundred years, up to 1,000 years. But Bishop is just very slowly and chilly walking. I really want to go with the interstellar theory that he just can't take this guy for more than 10 minutes without shooting something.
That's right, because in the order we saw it, he had just skimmed Apocalypse in that time vortex thing. And so it's possibly been thousands of years or 10 minutes.
In my mind, Bishop just solves problems by shooting things.
In my mind, you said it like you're a member of Blink-182.
In my mind.
He's not wrong because he shoots down. Actually,
Because that's what he does.
it's video game logic though. Had we come across this scene as kids in like an X-Men video game, like, oh, we gotta shoot those things.
Yeah,
Look at that thing floating. Let me shoot it.
Totally not how my real life logic works either.
And so he shoots down Psylocke.
And like two others too.
Yeah.
We don't see what happens to those guys. They fall to
Their death.
eternity.
Yeah, because that's Psylocke.
Not actual eternity from Marvel, just into the abyss.
Yeah, you have to be careful with your words. And
I know.
So
Trust me, I know. My name's Joe Russo, Marvel.
Oh, you just drop SEO instead of crazy. Joe Russo Marvel.
Oh, thank God for auto captions on Facebook.
So Psylocke is like immediately wakes up and starts telling him, he's like, you gotta shoot the rest of those things down.
And he has no problem with that.
Yeah. So he's like, bam, bam, bam. And as more psychics he frees from the tube, time is starting to heal. So we start seeing like people reappear and what we saw disappear within just a little bit ago.
Yeah, the moments start popping up again, seeing the return of the atomic bomb, which that was a choice. Apocalypse has a quick confrontation with Bishop and Psylocke, and he references that he's been there for like 1,000 years. We end up going back into the Citadel. Wolverine is fighting with the Nasty Boys. He drops Rod's favorite hairbag.
Oh, yeah. There's another orb.
So it's the same orb that we had just referenced that got put at the top.
Okay.
He's fighting Sinister, and as he's fighting Sinister, he like deflects a blast, and as he deflects the blast, it shoots the orb, which is lacking any sort of protection.
Yeah, or explanation.
No, that's the power source.
It's a button. It's the big red button.
Yeah.
It's getting bounced around like a hot potato.
Right. And then that's where, when that happens, everything starts shaking, and you start to see in reverse order, everybody starts coming back. And that's the only reason I specified earlier. You see the X-Men, you see New York City, and then you see the Shi'ar. It's literally the same clip played in reverse.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
Definitely not a budget measure.
No, it's like, and the only reason that stood out to me wasn't because of the way the camera was moving, but Jubilee and Shard are literally walking in reverse because they were the only ones being animated during that disappearance.
Oh, wow.
I guess it kind of makes sense too in like a storytelling thing from
About
early time travel
timelines
stuff.
disappearing and shit. Yeah.
It's like kind of reverse thing, whatever.
I mean, it's good enough is what I'm sure they said.
And then,
The motto for literally all of Saban.
yeah.
Good enough.
Well, kids watch it.
Yeah, kids won't notice because kids are stupid.
Psychics are released, and Sinister and the Nasty Boys say, we're out.
Yeah.
Yep. They got Cyclops' cum to go chase.
And while that thing's happening, Apocalypse and Cable fight, but then like I think another rogue shot gets, or maybe it's not even rogue, a shot takes out the Axis planet thing, whatever that's called. In my head, that planet that was the center of the Axis was kind of like the Kingdom Hearts homeworld. I don't know how else to explain it.
I never got that far into Kingdom Hearts because I wanted to die playing it.
Oh, it's like a central planet, but it's like you can visibly see the building sticking out of it.
Oh, I know. It's the one where there's like the gummy ship and all that.
But it's just like the time period is vaguely, like...
Isn't this
Is it like
Final Fantasy
1800s?
versus Disney?
Yes.
Or something?
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I mean, there's a
I know
fight that
stuff.
there's the fight that breaks out. Essentially, Apocalypse and Cable start going back and forth. I think it says Cable shoots Ape, which is not accurate, but I think it's Apocalypse, and that's what ends up leading to the Axis Fortress
You don't remember
imploding.
the ape in the climax of the episode?
Yeah.
I do.
Ape was in the Christmas episode.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he's a Morlock.
Yep.
Ah.
And
yeah.
so then...
Rod's favorite Morlock.
Yeah. And then my note here says everyone's fighting on like floating rocks.
We do get a cool character moment though, especially in the context of this having just happened with Wolverine and Magneto going to Wundagore and the kid's story and stuff like that. Wolverine saves Magneto as Magneto is falling. He goes, "What am I, Charles Xavier?"
Oh, yeah.
And then Wolverine and Apocalypse have their little fight moment. Magneto saves him, and Magneto just shoves it right back to him. He goes, "Oh, look at who I'm saving. What am I, an X-Men?"
Pretty good.
Yeah,
That's a reference to the Quicksilver pooping episode.
See?
It is.
Yes.
All comes back to that episode.
Right. The axis of time of the X-Men, the animated series.
And Cyclops, Seaman, and Quicksilver poop.
Yes.
Push through, Rod.
Push through. Shall I read this from the screenplay?
Magneto starts losing his powers, and Apocalypse... Oh, this is where Apocalypse has another orb.
Yes, he does have another orb here. You are correct, sir.
So I lost track of my magic red button orbs. And Bishop shoots it. It's a pretty short-lived.
Well, he basically says, like, his time that he spent there.
Solved everything by shooting it.
Yeah, just shoot everything.
What is the lesson that we're being taught?
Violence is the answer.
everything.
Violence is the answer. Shoot everything.
Apocalypse was like, well, I was here for so long. I discovered all the secrets to this place. I don't know how to defend my orbs.
Yeah.
And just as it looks like Apocalypse is going to win, he gets attacked by the psychics because he forgot about them.
And then we got one more psychic reveal in the sky above them. Emma Frost is seen very clearly.
right.
Yes, I
She
did
is.
recognize her.
She's
I read
there.
that. And I think that might have been the shot where I recognized Strife.
Yes.
Yes, he was
floating
definitely
there.
in that shot as well.
They were like kitty corner to each other.
Yep.
Which is another, like, for someone who's supposed to be as wise as Apocalypse, who didn't think of a fail-safe of having all the most powerful psychics in existence, like, presumably through time,
Yeah.
even if they were all in the 90s, like, having them in one place. If they get loose, what do you do?
Right. Emma Frost was in the
Dark Phoenix episodes.
Yes.
As part of the Circle Club.
That's right, not the that blew my mind. I totally didn't realize that, like, in retrospect, when I heard you guys talking about it, because I don't watch the shows.
They're like, why aren't they calling it the Hellfire Club? God, guys, swear more.
The Inner Circle Club.
So they take him out pretty easily because once again, they're all like super powered.
Yeah.
And then everyone starts flashing away.
Well, before they take him out and they specify without his chamber, when they pull him back into the time stream, he's essentially going to cease to be, is how they explain it. Mm-hmm. And yeah, everybody makes it onto the ship who needs to, and then everybody starts leaving, except for
Bender. And then I'm pretty sure you're going to explain this to me. He turns into a not little gremlin character, and I don't know what that's supposed to be.
Before I say it, because it's
Is it Kang?
comic canon who this character is. So say what you want to.
Is it Kang?
So it's not specifically the Kang all of us know. It's a Mortis who is one of the variants of Kang.
Yeah, kind of like the Mr. Fantastic son thing or grandson or whatever.
It isn't that Nathaniel.
No, but like one of those things, like where it's like there's like the Pharaoh and the
it's so there's, I believe it's Amun Tut who's the Pharaoh version. Mortis is one of the later ones, Silver Centurion, etc. But yeah, that is one of Kang's forms.
So was that?
So what
that
you're
was-
saying, and I am now saying, Joe Russo is now saying that Kang is in this.
Yes,
Kang, Avengers, Kang, Avengers.
crystal clear. Kang is in this episode and has
Kang.
been for 3 previous episodes as well.
Wow.
So was this?
So I wasn't wrong when I said it is JC's favorite character and has a tattoo on his back.
Because he has Jonathan Majors on his like back shoulder.
Yeah, that's the thing. I have Jonathan Majors from Lovecraft County on my back.
So was that at the time? Was that supposed to be the grand reveal? Since this was going to be like a series finale thing, like that he was orchestrating the whole series, like events, or was it just supposed to be a cameo Easter egg?
I think it was just a cameo Easter egg.
I would imagine it was a cameo Easter egg because from what I read in previously on X-Men, the making of an animated series by Eric Lewald, which I say it every time, even though we don't get affiliate money for when people buy it.
Chills.
We really should have set up those links, Rod.
affiliate
Fix your
link, yeah.
Amazon shit.
Right. Amazon, fix my Amazon shit. Because I've met with you physically twice already.
I forgot what I was answering.
Man with Jeff
Kang
Bezos.
orchestrating everything.
Yeah. So even at the time, if it was going to be the end of the series and they were doing the establishment of new characters joining the team, Kang has never been a X-Men villain. He's majority an Avengers villain. So I think this was Easter egg of like, oh, Avengers World is where they play with the time stream in a real meaningful manner with Kang as the villain. And this was the Easter egg of like, oh, that's cute. You little X-Men people have Cable and Apocalypse and Bishop. That's all really you have. Avengers World is where we actually have our big bad with the time stream.
Which is kind of funny because this whole time we were watching all 4 of these episodes, I was thinking like Apocalypse is kind of doing what we're kind of anticipating with Kang the Conqueror in the MCU, now.
I have no comment on that. My name is Joe Russo.
Rod, it's going to be really fun when you just pull all these clips into like a master TikTok.
Right? Hopefully I remember. If I haven't by now, I'll leave a comment and then I'll try to go back and do it.
Leave this in the show. Editing Rod. Remember to pull those clips. Now you can't forget it.
Well, I mean, I've gotten to this point. So then we're back at the mansion and there's like a Full House sitcom ending.
Nope.
Yeah. it's a super fast wrap up too.
But it's also one of the ones that is wrapped up, and it gives resolution, because sometimes we hit ends of episodes where it's like, cool, Wolverine won the fight, and then Jubilee's asking him if he banged the girl from the village.
I hope he did.
Which fair.
Which this is one of the times where Rod and I agree somebody was banging, it just wasn't acknowledged. So you get Shard and Bishop come back together.
Yep.
You get the implication that Archangel and Psylocke are definitely going to hook up.
Yeah.
Scott and Jean are kissing. They're ready to make some cable babies. And then what's it say?
Cyclops come.
And they of course are like, wow, we really suck at hangovers. Honeymoons. Why did I write hangovers?
Because you were probably
similar.
hungover when you watched this.
That's probably accurate. And then the weirdest moment of the episode, and I need to definitely do a screen grab of it. Magneto is talking to Xavier, and they're standing. Xavier is standing up with no problem
So
next to
wild.
Magneto.
I didn't even notice
I
it.
didn't either. I don't know if I just mentally checked out by that point,
Yeah.
or I didn't notice
That's like in the movie Elf when like they print the book without like the ending, and like
Right.
they're like, no one's gonna care. The kids aren't gonna care if the bunny finds the
Yeah.
nun or whatever.
And then the final moments of the episode, Beast is talking to Cable, and he's basically like, so, how does it feel? You destroyed the incarnation of evil. And Cable's like, I don't really care. I just want to go back and find my kid.
Yeah.
And then what's the strangest to me is, even as a season finale, like, and especially if this would have been a series finale, just watching Cable go off by himself is just a really just kind of awkward end to the episode, I think.
It's like possible spin-off. But he says he specifically, just to wrap up the last story point, he said that he's going to go to a week before he lost Tyler.
Yeah.
Right. So I guess he did die.
Yeah, right. But I also like.
But what happens to the Cable that's in that timeline? Is it going to kill him?
Hopefully. I do like how multiple Cables have existed in the comics at the same time with each other. There was one point where there was like young Cable, and then there's older Cable simultaneously.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
That does happen in their rules, right? Yes.
It isn't the if two meet each other, then they like it blows up the timeline. That is not the thing. Like
But they can meet each other.
They can meet each other.
Right. Anyway.
Time travel.
I mean,
Time travel.
there's a whole
I would know from Avengers Endgame when Captain America fought Captain America.
there is a whole moment in time because stuff got so screwed up. Beast brought the young versions of the X-Men into the present day.
I read those
for
arcs.
like
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
it was like 2 years
a
of
while.
real time. Yeah.
They had their own run, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, it was when there was an X-Men Gold and an X-Men Blue book,
Yes. Yep.
and they were in one of the two books.
Yeah.
And that's actually
It was
where we
basically
found
the original team. It was kind of like a soft reboot, really.
Yeah, and that's also where we found out that Iceman was gay, was in that series.
That's right.
Because he figured it out before present day Bobby had talked about it.
That's right.
Interesting. This is gonna come back around.
Okay, let's see
Move
this
on.
path.
Did you guys see the Snake episode of Rick and Morty?
Yes. I've seen every episode of Rick and Morty.
I'm not as caught up on Rick and Morty.
There's a Rick and Morty episode about Snake Terminator,
Okay.
and so that one, I guess, spoiler, ends with
Spoiler for you, Joe.
Yeah.
for you. Or I guess anybody listening.
And anyone else who's listening who has not watched Rick and Morty.
This is not going to spoil the episode for you. But they kind of make fun of like why time travel can't work in the way that we understand it, because the end of the episode is like endless amounts of Snake Terminators showing up in the timeline. Like it's literally just like showers of them coming down, because if time travel exists in the way that we understand it,
Yeah.
it would just be endless time travelers just like raining down.
Huh. Because
I would love to see that, but with actual Terminator robots. So it's just
Right.
literally T100s or 500s.
crunch,
Yeah,
crunch,
just
crunch,
falling
crunch,
on top
crunch,
of each
crunch.
other.
Yeah.
It looks like the classic shooter arcade game.
Oh man.
Which I think is part of the reason why the Infinity War explanation, Joe Russo, of time travel is
My
like
name is Joe Russo.
is explained of like, oh, Back to the Future is bullshit, because if it was, then it would be that thing where the time travel is just raining from the sky.
Right.
Anyway, that's what happens to Cable. He just ends up in a shower of himself.
Raining onto him, covered in.
Cyclops semen. I mean, if it's Cable, he's technically just like a further
he is
developed
Cyclops
Cyclops semen.
semen.
Yeah.
I'm so happy they didn't give us Madeline Pryor in this series, so we can't talk about that anymore.
Oh, man, that is a real bummer. If they,
I think-
if they bring Madeline Pryor in X-Men '97, please have me back
I
so I
think-
can talk about Cyclops semen again.
I think because the fact that we never formally address Cable's origin, that they're going to have to. Because you can't have X-Men 97
Yeah.
without some presence of Cable.
Right. Well, and he's such an important character of the animated series. Yeah.
Was he in the artwork of like the teams that were shown? Because I know we saw like modern version of Morph. We saw Forge. We saw new Magneto outfit, which Rod fucking hates.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't remember seeing him in that.
I don't think I've seen it yet.
But
my phone's
my
over
memory
there.
is great and everything.
Yeah.
Wait.
Anyway, yeah.
Is Cable Cyclops? Is it Madeline Pryor's son?
Specifically, it is that combination in the comics.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yep. So it's always a very awkward moment between him and Jean. Yeah, so that's the end of the episode.
And that's the end of season 4.
Yep.
Yeah.
The only other things that I was able to find about this one, aside from the psychic named Gremlin, was one of the characters was also acknowledged in the tubes to be the other version of Psylocke's personality. Like, it was like one of those like ones that you didn't recognize. And then there was in his Farouk mode, Shadow King was also one of the psychics in there.
Oh, that's cool.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like spotting them, like you were literally going frame by frame to spot those.
Wow.
But yeah, we hit everything. We talked about it being the end of the series. That was not the end of the series, which is great because Joe can vouch. This is how many pages are left in the notebook. And this will be all my notes from the entire series when it's wrapped up. So it's,
Nice.
Wow. Yeah, you're getting close, man.
yeah.
I'll throw all
Good
mine
thing
away.
season 5 is pretty short.
Yeah, it's only a handful of episodes, which has been funny because we're trying to book out guests for the rest of it, and it's like people are like, "Yeah, what episodes are left?" And we're like, "Not many."
So I have an idea to propose
How
here.
are you going to make it to the fall, guys?
We have to watch Pride of the X-Men.
Right.
We have the movies.
Got it.
And then we have X-Men Evolution.
Right, okay, all right.
Wolverine and the X-Men. The thing I'm holding back as long as absolutely possible on is the X-Men animes, which are really bad.
Oh, boy.
I actually like the X-Men animes, but I also don't remember them very well. So
No, they were on Netflix, and I got through one episode.
oh really?
Wow. You like anime.
I own the DVDs
I do.
back in the day. I actually have an idea to propose, like for some of the guests that couldn't make it on, like Shawnee, that was sick for the ones that she was supposed to be on, and also we just ignored for the ones that were good for her to be on. Maybe we do some like recaps of individual like sub storylines or something.
Oh, yeah.
Like maybe have Shawnee on to talk about like the 4 secret baby episodes that were in a row or something.
Yeah,
or
Secret Babies.
Secret Babies.
Semen episodes.
or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I was going to say who else we're hoping to book on the show, but I don't want to have that anywhere within proximity of the Semen Baby comment. So.
But stay tuned.
Because I want them to still say yes.
Yeah. Either way, stay tuned.
While it wasn't a one-to-one recreation of the story, I do think that this played a big part in the concept of the 12, the Apocalypse story from the 2000s. Which was right before I got back into comics. It was one of those where by the time I got back into buying comics on the weekly, this was already in like the 12-issue maxi size trade.
Oh, wow. Like I said, I thought it was a fun one to be a part of just because it had all the villains, it had all the kind of animated series tropes, and it was the Batman the movie of the X-Men the animated series. So thanks for letting me torture John for several hours.
We started at 12:30 today.
Yep.
It's now 6 o'clock.
That's great. My cat's super jazzed about that. Where can people find you, Joe?
Where can people find me? You can find me on the Twitter at Joe Russo Tweets.
Fucking boomer.
And you can find me on the Instagram at Joe Russo Graham.
Yeah, we'll tag you in stuff.
Tag me in stuff. I'm sure, Marvel, Joe Russo, Avenger.
I can't wait to just literally put hashtag Joe Russo in every one of these posts.
You can find a bunch of my movies on the lines. You can Google the internet.
And your most recent greatest beer run ever?
That is the most recent one that has come out as of this recording. Yes.
Very cool.
I mean, this is only going live in like 6 weeks from now, so.
Oh, I have one coming out in 2 weeks. But
Aren't you fucking fancy?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll tag it in a thing.
Anyway,
Avenge her. Yeah.
Avenge her.
I can't believe you're shooting that in 2 weeks.
It's unbelievable.
He's already shot it.
That's how fast movies get made.
It's shooting this afternoon.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us. If you have any thoughts, make sure to drop them into the comments for either the YouTube upload or official Instagram post about this episode. If you like what you heard, we appreciate a rating on the podcast app of your choosing. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, CastBox.
If I ever hear Cyclops semen again, I'm quitting the internet.
Cyclops semen.